Welcome to CashFlow Diary, a podcast where we discuss business, money, real estate, and the sharing economy. As a full-time real estate investor, entrepreneur, and all-around problem solver, I have had the privilege of developing individuals into powerful business owners. And today, the focus turns towards you. Our mission is to help you build your real estate empire by leveraging strategies to grow yourself, your mind, and your wallet. Let's get started. Hey guys, Jay Massey here. What we're going to talk about is, how inflation affects short-term rentals. Now, some of you may not even be familiar with the concept of inflation or what it is. You may only know that you keep hearing it on the news. You're not even sure if it means you go or stop or really what to do about it. So first, let's start with that. Inflation, think of it this way. It's purchasing power. How much can any one unit of currency, now I say unit of currency because I know that a number of you are watching from many different countries, but if you want the US dollar, how much can your $1 purchase or $100 purchase or $1,000 purchase in terms of goods and services from year to year? Said another way, what you could buy for $1,000 today, and in next year, same time, you won't be able to buy the same number or same quantity of goods and services for the same $1,000. In fact, it means those same good and services will require $1,100, not just $1,000. So we often say, hey, the price went up when actually it's more like the purchasing power was eroded. It went down. In a market where the same service requires more units of currency. You see, it doesn't require more work, but it requires more units of currency in order to keep pace with the standard of living. What you want is you want to have a product or a service that can adjust its prices with inflation. Now, here's the good news. You probably have figured this out, but when you go to stay at a short-term rental and the daily rate, they change. One of the best things about having a short-term rental business is simply the fact that, guess what? You're in a business whose pricing, it's already accepted that it adjusts. It accepts that it's adjusted daily, which means when inflation changes, so can your price. Meaning it's one of the few businesses in the real estate space where you can protect yourself from inflation without having a bank's cooperation. And that's one of the things that I love about it. So said another way, it's a great way of playing defense, even though you're acquiring more units. Now, here's how you get ahead with short-term rentals and inflation. What you do is you purchase and acquire more units of production. Now, I know I said purchase, and 9 times out of 10, we're talking about rental arbitrage, and I still am, okay? I don't mean suddenly start buying the buildings, because you can still get ahead without having to buy the buildings or the apartments, etc. And what it comes down to is you want what are known as units of production. So think of each short-term rental unit as one unit of production. So regardless of the number of bedrooms, it's one unit of production. So what happens is that when you have 2 units, because those 2 units can produce simultaneously, what begins to happen for you and your family and your business is the fact that you start to quote unquote beat inflation. So here's what I mean. If today you have 1 unit and tomorrow you have a second unit, and assuming everything else stays the same, they rent for the same price, all that other stuff, in effect, doubled your rate of production, yet the rate of inflation did not double during that same time. One of the best things you can do, actually, during a time of inflation is to acquire more units of production. So the more short-term rental units you have under your control or ownership, the better you should be able to do, assuming that they are properly managed and that you sourced your products and services that way, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My point is this: inflation works for those of us in the short-term rental business because the customer already knows the prices are going to change. In fact, they know they're going to go up. They're expecting them to go up. They accept that it's going to change on a daily basis. No one expects the price to be the same. So that conversation that sometimes we could fear, you don't even have to have it because they know the price is going to go up, which is great. Now, the real magic, though, comes when you begin to understand that not only does short-term rentals and adding more units of production help you against inflation, it also helps you to separate your income from time. So this is like the third benefit. So when you separate your income from time, you suddenly have the capacity to produce income without exchanging time. So again, whether you own the building or lease the building, you're still in a position to increase your income, increase and beat the rate of inflation, and most importantly, not trade time for dollars any longer. Because see, the one thing you cannot inflate is time. You can't get more of it. Once it's gone, it's gone. It's not coming back. You can't really get a do-over. I know when you were playing, what would we play? Kickball or something, you'd get a do-over if the cars came in the street, right? But, that doesn't happen here. But what you can do is begin to make sure that less and less of your time in the future is going to be required in order to bring in more and more income. So really succinctly, inflation and short-term rentals are kind of like peanut butter and jelly. You got to have them both to make a great sandwich, and they're really good together. If you like information like this, by all means, make sure that you click, you subscribe, and feel free to come on back and tell a friend that, hey, if you want to become an expert master short-term rentals, that CashFlow Diary is the place to be. Thank you for tuning in to the CashFlow Diary podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave a rating and a review. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, head over to CashFlowDiary.com to sign up for our email list, as well as check out all the links and resources in the show notes. Thank you again. Until next time.